5:30 p.m. on March 6th, and I'm opening up our PGUSD Board of Education regular meeting. And we have with that our call to order, and I will read the land acknowledgement. So good evening. As we begin this meeting, it is important to pay respect to and acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the Ohlone, Costanoan, and Esselen people, and additionally pay respect to elders both past and present. So with that, would you mind helping us with a roll call vote?
Absolutely. President Dr. Hazen.
I am here.
Clerk McNary. Here. Trustee Otmar. Here. Trustee Shamas.
Here.
And Trustee Wax.
Here. Excellent. So our next item is the adoption of the agenda as printed. Do we have any public in the room or online that would like to make a comment? Looks like no. So I'll go around to the board. Was there any concern or question about the agenda today? One item.
There was one walk-on, yes.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and I'm going to propose that'll be under consent as item K on the consent agenda, and that is specifically for a contract with it's for a food truck for the STEM and Science Fair evening at Robert Down, which occurs next week, and so we needed to bring it on at the last minute this evening for the board's approval. This is a contractor that we use regularly.
Great. Any other thoughts or comments from the board? If not, any chance I could get a motion?
I move that we adopt the agenda for tonight.
Okay, I'll second that with item K added as suggested. So that's all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, and that's none. So that motion was made by trustee Shamas and seconded by myself and passed 5-0. So now we move on to our closed session, I think, right? And we are going to identify the closed session topics. We are going to be talking about negotiations, collective bargaining session, planning and prep with the PGTA for 24-25, Gov Code 3549.1. The same collective bargaining, planning and prep with the CSEA for 24-25, Government Code 3549.1. Public employee discipline dismissal, release, leave complaint. Appeal of findings from investigation of complaint concerning an employee, and then conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9. So we'll take any public comment on closed session items at this time. None online and none in the room. So I will go ahead and adjourn us to closed session. Thank you. See you guys back at 7:30 online. I'll gavel us back in at 7:36 p.m. and I will go through and just report back out on our closed session items. Item 1 and 2 are going to bring back after the meeting. Item 3, the board voted unanimously to issue a notice of non-reelection to 4 temporary certificated teachers. Item 4, information was received and direction was given. Then item 5, I think we're also going to bring back afterwards. So with that, we have time for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Mr. Mountain, could I get you to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Since you said hi to me. Thank you very much. And now with that, I hear we are lucky to have a presentation for us tonight. And so Ms. Portella, I think, is on.
Members of the Pacific Grove School Board, we are here tonight to talk about AVID. AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination, and we have 2 AVID elective courses at the high school and at Pacific Grove Middle School. So we are here tonight to talk about both. So the mission of AVID is to close the opportunity gap by preparing all students for college and career readiness to find success in a global society. One of the ways that we implement the the goals of the mission is through the college and career readiness framework. So in supporting our students and maximizing their student agency, educators building their relational capacity for their students allow for rigorous academic preparedness, access to the opportunity and knowledge needed to catapult that student agency, and advocate for our students, aligning the work to reach those goals, breaking down the barriers toward opportunity knowledge, and then finally insisting on the rigor for our AVID students. So who else is the AVID student typically supported by? In our communities, the AVID student is supported by their elective teachers. First and foremost, their families. I should have said that started with their families. The AVID student is supported by their families, our AVID elective teachers, the help of college tutors in our classes, their core subject teachers, of course, where all the good points of confusion come from, the counselors, our district admin, of course, and oversight from AVID support staff at the national level. We have exposure to colleges and universities, and exposure to local community members, such as instances like tonight. So with that, here in PG, those that make up the AVID team, we have Jamie Allaire as our AVID elected teacher from Pacific Grove Middle School, resident AVID elective teacher Kyle Mountain from Pacific Grove Middle School, myself as an AVID elective teacher at Pacific Grove High School, and then Aaron Vasquez, who couldn't be here tonight, who is also an AVID elective teacher at Pacific Grove High School. Those that oversee us and advise us, and some of the leadership here at the district office, we have Linda Adamson, a staunch supporter of AVID. We have Larry Hackwist, who was the original founding member of AVID back in 1999 with PGUSD. Myself, I also act as the AVID district coordinator for our program in both sites, PGHS and PGMS. And at our school sites, we have the awesome help of Sean Roach at the middle school, principal of PGMS, Jason Tavani, assistant principal, and also an AVID expert, Greg O'Meara, principal of PGHS, Sean Keller at the high school as well, and then the support of James Errett, my colleague, as the AVID counselor, and then the 9 and 10 guidance counselor as well. We have Kent Latham this year, who is killing it in the college and career counseling position at PGHS. So we do a lot of collaboration with the College and Career Center as well. So in our AVID elective course, some of the curriculum themes that we go through are planning and organization, individual habits and academic thinking skills, literacy and reflective practices, collaboration and communication, WICOR, which stands for Writing, Inquiry, Collaboration, Organization, and Reading. And then finally, tutorials and student inquiry, where I mentioned resolving points in confusion that arise during our core academic subjects, and then working through the AVID tutorial model to help aid and deepen the content knowledge found in their core subject classes. So the AVID elective course itself, some of the goals are to develop as readers, writers, speakers, and thinkers, deepen the content knowledge from their core subject classes, and resolve those points of confusion that arise. Receive explicit instruction in the AVID class on strategies for reading, writing, thinking, talking, and collaborating. Cultivating those habits, skills, and behaviors, and then taking it out into the field to apply those learned skills in a variety of settings. The goal is to also foster collaboration and problem solving through teamwork, the collaborative study group model, and then finally the AVID tutorial, which is where some of our AVID tutors come in. We can go to the next slide. The one before. So I just wanted to take a minute to mention our wonderful group of college tutors that support within our AVID classrooms. Generally, they support with the AVID tutorial, which is a collaborative study group facilitated by the teachers and aided by the college tutors. And during these AVID tutorials, students use Socratic inquiry and collaboration to make sense of potentially confusing or unclear concepts from their content classes, which if I had AVID in high school, it probably would have made it a lot easier, more accessible, I should say. So some of our awesome college tutors are former PG grads. A lot of our college tutors are also former AVID students, so they come and support from a variety of different angles and really add to the cohesion that our AVID team in the AVID elective classrooms exists. So outside of the classroom. Avid likes to get out there in the field, and this past year and in the past couple of years, we've finally been able to do that again post-pandemic. So this is an awesome photo from fall of 2024. We went to CSU East Bay. It's a big group, the biggest Avid group we've ever seen. So big that we needed like the wide angle camera this time, which was yes, handy from a parent chaperone. So that was a really cool thing to see. We also went to Cal on that same trip. There's us at the stadium. Yep. And then Dr. Hackwist makes a cameo here, orating something interesting to the group there at Cal as well. And then the spring before, we went to UC Davis. That was a phenomenal trip. So evidence of that as well. And then the year before that, we've gone to UC Santa Cruz, UC Merced, CSU Stanislaus. We kept it local with CSU MB. And then that same year, we also went to Stanford. So we tend to get around the local neighborhood, which these kids are lucky that so many wonderful institutions exist nearby. Back on campus, some of the other things Avid engages with are college and career fairs, both at the high school and the middle school, close collaboration with the College and Career Center. We bring in guest speakers to our Avid classrooms, so that could look like college representatives or local community members, local professionals from a variety of career fields, adding in that career readiness piece that Avid lately has really worked towards building into the model. And then finally, access to a partnership with Rotary for a job shadow for some of our high school students, where they can partake in building those community connections at a young age. Evidence of some of the things I just talked about. So our Avid students are always busy. And then one of the things that is really wonderful to be able to celebrate here tonight and make note of is the progress and growth that has happened post-pandemic. So PGHS in particular has seen increasing student enrollment at a pretty exponential rate. So in 21-22, we had less than 15 students. That was my first year as an Avid elective teacher. And then currently in the 24-25 year, we have grown to 72 students at the high school. And that is just phenomenal to see. Part of the hard work of the connection between PGMS and PGHS and that longitudinal maintenance of the program. So, and at PGMS, the student enrollment consistently reaches our thresholds with tons of enthusiasm down there year after year. This year there are 41 students, and that's pretty typical of every year at PGMS. And one thing that is super notable, and we're very proud to say this year, is that underrepresented student groups for the first time now make up a majority of the PGHS Avid population, and that is a significant milestone to have achieved. So we're happy about that. And finally, a lot of this has been made possible by the support from our generous donor partners. They couldn't be here tonight, but we are so grateful for their generosity. And that's the William McCaskey and Adeline Dinsmore Chapman Foundation and the Yellow Brick Road Foundation, who have helped make some of our travel and tutor support possible. So we are very grateful for them. And with that, I thought everybody should hear it from the horse's mouth. We are going to bring on some of our Avid student speakers, starting with Scarlett, grade 12. Scarlett, you can come on up.
Hello, everyone. Like she said, my name is Scarlett Uriarte, and I was invited here to share my story with Avid. Before Avid, I was really struggling with my grades. I was barely passing my classes, or quite frankly, I was failing my classes. I had no motivation or any idea of what I was going to do when I finished high school. It worried me deeply. I joined Avid my junior year of high school, and I was greeted every single afternoon with Miss Portella's warm welcome to the classroom. Just like that, my senior year had came, and usually for someone's senior year, they are so excited for what the year had to offer, and most importantly, college. To me, that was a dreaded word. I tried to avoid it at all costs. It gave me so much stress. I was heavily discouraged by my family. They told me constantly I could never get into college, let alone graduate high school, because of my previous failed courses. Being around that atmosphere made me actually start to believe them. I remember walking into Avid one day in September and going up to Miss Portella, telling her I can't go to college because my family had engraved in my mind that I cannot make it to college. I remember what she told me, and she told me that I have a say in my future and I can choose what I want to do in my life after high school. So for the first time, I believed in myself. I started to apply to schools, and just like that, I started hearing back. I would tell Miss Portella about my acceptances before anyone else. She always leaped with joy and give me hugs and told me she was so proud of me. And that's all I wanted to hear. I just wanted to know that someone believed in me. Avid has been one of the greatest gifts to me. I went from a 1.6 GPA my sophomore year to a 3.8 last semester. Not only was the grade boost significant, but I also learned and gained so many tools from my peers in this class. I learned how to communicate through questions, understand assignments on a deeper level, and most importantly, know how to motivate myself and others. Last semester, I was able to commit to a college, become a first-generation college student, and now I get excited whenever someone brings up college because I'm able to share my story. I'm so thankful for the AVID program and especially Ms. Portella for telling me not to lose hope.
Next up from the middle school, we have Kaylee.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what time it is, but I like to say my manners. So, good evening. My name is Kaylee Rodriguez Gutierrez. I'm an 8th grade AVID student from Miss Celeste's class. AVID is used throughout schools in the United States so that educators can improve a student's quality of life. Today, I'll be presenting my perspective on how AVID has benefited students. I'll be talking about 3 specific parts of AVID: learning logs, tutorial request forms, and college preparedness. One of the assignments that we do in AVID that is helpful to me are learning logs. A learning log is the form that includes questions asked, what did you learn, what is something interesting, and what questions do you have. This allows the student to get a flashback of what they learned during class, although web results come after completing a learning log each week. As for myself, I find it helpful because I tend to focus more in class so that I can retain the information I learned and write it down on paper since it has a purpose. Writing a question at the end of the log allows me to think beyond what I was taught and come in preparation when writing my point of confusion for future TRFs. Tutorial request forms, or known as TRFs, is a key part of AVID that is extremely helpful to me. TRFs are worksheets that have a student write down a question that they're unsure of. Then it asks them to collaborate through their peers to help them get the solution. TR is a huge part of learning because it impacts on how to start academic conversations with other people. This allows you to become more comfortable with working with different people. TRS assisted me by helping me think of advanced questions when helping a classmate. But most importantly, TRS helped me with my public speaking in front of people, my better eye contact, and as well as explaining why I'm confused about a topic. A third goal added that is really important to me is the focus on college preparation. The AVID program encourages students to research colleges and universities. Through the research, we learn about the campus environment, the housing, the in-state and out-state tuition, and the financial aid. This part of the program is important to me because I get to know if I really like the school, if the college has the major that I want, and whether or not I'll be able to pay for the school. We get to take educational field trips, like Ms. Portella said, UC Davis, UC Berkeley, and next week, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. We're also creating our middle school college fair. I'm really excited for that. In conclusion, all of the topics that I've discussed tonight cannot be taught outside of the AVID program. These are all the things that are necessary to become a better and more successful student. I'd like to end with a quote by Mary Catherine Swanson, the founder of AVID. The goal of education in America must be the purpose of teaching all of our students to the very highest level, for lifting up people. Thank you very much.
Next up, we have Ava Bennett from the middle school, grade 8.
Sorry, I have it in my pocket. Hold on. One of the most impactful things AVID has done for me is to open my eyes to the world of higher education. Before AVID, I thought I knew everything about college. That all changed the first time I set foot on a university campus. When I visited UC Berkeley, it was my first time seeing a college campus up close, and I was in complete awe. Mr. Mountain says that I said OMG like 100 times. I was like, OMG, a building, OMG, grass. The sheer size of the campus, the energy of the students walking to and from class, the incredible resources and opportunities, it was unlike anything I'd ever seen or experienced. I remember standing in the middle of the Sproul Plaza, looking around at the historical banking buildings and thinking this is what college is really like. Seeing the students there interacting with each other at the different booths made it all feel real. I could just imagine myself walking around, being a college student, taking classes, studying in libraries, sitting in lecture halls, and being a part of the vibrant academic environment. The trip completely shifted my mindset. I grew up in the Houston area in Texas, and for the longest time, my dream school was the University of Houston because it was familiar where my dad went. But after Berkeley, I realized there was a whole world of possibilities out there, and suddenly my goals felt bigger. Of course, Avid has helped me in so many other ways. It taught me how to stay organized with my learning through weekly learnings and binder checks, which Kaylee thankfully explained, which I was not going to. Um, Making sure I plan out my week and keep my materials in order. I also learned how to take Cornell notes, something I never heard of until I went to Avid class for the first time. The summary section in particular has been a game changer for me because it helps me to process and retain key details from my notes instead of just writing things down and forgetting them later. But more than anything, Avid has expanded my horizons and helped me to see the value of exploring different colleges and finding the right fit for me. That's why I'm beyond excited for my trip to Cal Poly next week. If my visit to Berkeley changed my perspective so much, who knows what possibilities this next trip will bring.
And then we have an Avid elective teacher who is going to read a statement from one of our 12th grade students who couldn't be here tonight. So thank you, Mr. Mountain.
I'm reading on behalf of Maya Lowe, who is a senior at Pacific Grove High School. She said, I joined the Avid program in 8th grade because I heard from a friend that it would help me stay organized, which I desperately needed my most academically busy year. While I thought Avid would be only useful to stay on top of my schoolwork, the habits and lessons I've learned through it have also branched into other aspects of my life. As a senior, I applied to several different colleges, a process that was quite stressful and would have felt like a huge hurdle without Avid. Avid helped me with college preparation, allowing me to narrow down the best choices for colleges to apply to that would best suit my needs and interests. My parents did not attend college in America, thus a majority of this information I learned about college and application process was through Avid. Avid has helped me become better at managing my time and prioritizing my tasks. Before, I never found a use for planners and calendars. I did not know what it meant to set aside time to study for my classes. I refused to mark down events because I felt overly confident that my memory would suffice. Due to my inattention to time management and prioritizing my tasks, I was overall less efficient and wasted more time than I thought I was saving by not wasting time on planning out tasks and events. This wasted time took away from my other parts of my life because of a time debt I would create. Through Avid, I picked up the habits of planning and creating efficient routines, such as using a planner and setting systematic timers to control my busy life and my roles as a student, athlete, employee, and an older sister. The most important thing I learned from the Avid program was the importance of asking for help. I grew up fearing to ask for help, even just raising my hand was something I was ashamed of. In the past, I would rather sit in silence and struggle than subject myself to speaking up for myself. Avid pushed me to work through problems by solving them with peers. Tutorial groups focused on singular subjects allowed me to feel more comfortable working with academic problems I did not fully understand. Because of the peer-driven nature of tutorial groups, asking for help came about in a more natural and relaxed process. I find talking to my teachers and professors a more casual task. I attend math tutoring sessions and check in during my professor's office hours. With a lessened fear of reaching out for help, I've become a better student and a more dependable peer. Avid has set me up as a more organized and efficient person with skills that I can use in college and my future career. Although Avid calls for one to slow down to plan and focus on the details, I discovered that slowing down creates more speed, efficiency, and strength in the long run in academic, professional, and personal life.
Gotta go slow to go fast, as they say. Our final student speaker is Adam Motter, grade 11. So Adam, why don't you come on up?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Adam Motter, and I'm a current junior at Pacific Grove High School. I'm going to elaborate on my AVID experience through the things that I've gone through over the years. When I was in middle school, I had no clue what college was or how it worked. All I knew is that my grandfather wanted me to go to college. During middle school, I found out about a class that teaches a multitude of habits and tactics that will guide me towards college. This class was called AVID, and I was about to begin my 7th grade year when I found this out. Plot twist, that was during the first year of COVID. I remember it was so early in the morning and those early memories are foggy, but something about the virtual simulations of field trips were exciting enough to recruit my buddies for the next year. When we all got back to Pacific Grove Middle School. With the promise of in-person college visits from Miss Marr, I had him sold. Turns out, being so fresh out of social distancing, colleges still weren't too keen on having big groups of middle schoolers exploring their campuses. Although the promise of visiting campuses was not fulfilled that 8th grade year, I was motivated to continue to find out what this class would hold for my high school career. My buddies, not so much. Coming into high school my freshman year, there were only 8 people in my AVID class with Miss Portella. And as the years went on, the numbers began to skyrocket. I started to ask more of my friends if they wanted to give it a shot because I believed that the class would be much more enjoyable with them there. And boy, it was. After my freshman year, the class number almost tripled. It was an amazing time getting to know more and more people who wanted to get the feeling of exposure to colleges early in their high school career. Alongside these goals, anybody who knows me knows I love sports. I have a memory from middle school where Mr. Roach came up to me and asked if I had ever thought about playing football. At the time, I had no clue how that sport worked. All I knew was that it was a popular sport. I responded by telling him I don't even know what a football is. But as I started to play the sport, it made an impression on me. And coming into my freshman year, I started playing with the junior varsity team. I didn't play much that year, but I fell in love with the sport. I've always been a wrestler and recently joined the track team. And one of my biggest goals is to play sports in college. AVID has helped me to complete just that. Not only has it given me exposure to different colleges around California, but it has also helped me balance my workload and build other academic habits that have helped me incredibly throughout my high school years. I remember telling Miss Portella in 9th grade that I was going to play football in college. 2 years later as a junior, I found myself telling her the same thing. Those goals haven't changed, and I've stayed on track to achieve them. Throughout the years as an AVID student, I've learned how to balance rigorous courses alongside my extracurriculars. I learned how to make studying more efficient, complete tasks and assignments, and maintain a good academic standing and A through G eligibility. I've brought my friends in on the AVID experience and look forward to what my future holds after high school. Thank you.
Thank you so much for our presentation from AVID. We hope you have a wonderful night.
Don't go anywhere yet. You don't get out off that easily. I just want to say a few things before you leave tonight. And we have to get a group photo as well of all of you before you leave. So, all right. So I think just a couple of things. Number one, just thank you all for being here this evening. Thank you to the teachers and all of the staff who are here to really support the students, but to our students who volunteered and who stepped forward this evening with such courage, and how articulate you all were. If I could have had an ounce of that at your age, oh my goodness. So just thank you for, we get to sit here at these board meetings very often, and there's so many decisions that our board makes that really impact your lives. And I think for you to be here, one of the reasons we wanted to start all of our board meetings this year with something that showcases a program that impacts directly our students that we serve. This is the reason. It gives us our why, and we get to start out on such a positive foot as a result of that. So thank you for number one, starting our meeting out with such a positive note. There were so many themes that came through as each of you spoke, but I think the one common one for sure that stood out to me was that whole concept of you had initially had that thought that maybe college wasn't for me, and how Avid changed your whole perspective on that and really gave you that hope, right? Some of you talked about stepping onto college for the first time, and really that was when it became real for you. And that is been my experience with Avid, that I'm such a firm believer and a fan of it. And to hear it directly from you as students on how that's impacted your lives directly, that is powerful. So thank you for sharing those stories with us this evening. To our teachers, particularly, Miss Maddie, you put Mrs. Porchella, just thank you for organizing this evening, for really allowing for the rest of the staff to be here tonight. We are thrilled. I do have certificates for each of the students who are here, so I'm going to present those. These really fall in line with our culture of we celebrations this year, and we present any students who come to our meetings with us really as in recognition and with gratitude for the role you're playing in carrying out and implementing our core values of safety, of belonging, and prosperity. And everything you've spoken to this evening really brings that to life for us. So thank you. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask you to all come up one by one, and then we're going to come to the front, and I'm going to ask our board to come forward for a group photo. So Scarlett Uriarte, congratulations. Haley Rodriguez Gutierrez. Ava Bent. No, you actually are giving answer. Maya Lowe. Who's not and Adam Mato. I'm going to invite people and teachers as well if you want to come up to the front, and then the boardroom.
Again, thank you so much. It's really so enjoyable to have a presentation like that before we have to get into the I won't say the deepness of the business we have to do. I'll just say the next thing we have, we'll into the communications, and we normally start with our student representative comments, but they could not be here today, so we'll jump right into item B, the board member comments and written communications. I'll just start quickly with the written communications. There were multiple kudos we got to staff, particularly a teacher at Forest Grove, and one email also about budget and some of the decisions we're making tonight. Go around. I actually am not going to have any board member comments, so I'll pass on just down the line this way. See if there's any more written or board member comments people wanted to share.
I received the same written comments you mentioned. Thank you. And I don't have any to add. For my board member comment, I had the opportunity to attend the Measure B Facilities Master Planning Community Engagement Forum for the community on Tuesday night at the high school. And the presentation included some really great information that I hope will be accessible and available to our community and the public so that more people can have access and participate in the process. And it was, I was kind of curious, just for anyone who might be listening tonight, what the next step is for us in that process and what might people look out for in terms of how they can get involved. So those are just my questions.
Thank you, Trustee Otmar.
I received an email that was discussing gratitude for Miss Alt at Robert Down. I received an email asking me to vote no on both reduction in force resolutions. I received an email regarding student safety, and then also one about concerns regarding political comments during board meetings. And I have no board comment tonight.
Thank you. You got a few I forgot to mention. I appreciate that. Trustee Schmitz.
Yeah, I have received the same emails. And I went to the Tuesday morning facilities presentation, and it was very interesting. One of the takeaways was one of the leaders of the group was just so impressed with the adult school. Like he just could not stop talking about it. Like he was so impressed with the breadth of offerings, and it was almost like he's never seen an adult school before. I don't know. No, I mean, it was very, very nice to hear, and well deserved, of course. And also the other thing is I said I was going to be able to go to the LCAP training at MCOE on Monday, but I'm not because I didn't realize I had a conflict on that night. So I am not going to be able to go to that.
Trustee Ross.
Let's see, I received all the previous emails in addition to some that were just directed toward me, which was another one asking me to vote no on the RIF reduction in force resolutions today, and another email about my own communication style, as well as a text about my communication style, and then also another in-person feedback about my communication style from a very rude community member who is my wife. But I'll forgive her. And that's also just to mention that this tie is actually from our wedding day, and our anniversary is next week. So, shout out to her. And let's see. I think that's the only other thing. Oh, I would like to say that I was at the nighttime meeting for the facilities management on Zoom, and he was very impressed with the adult school, but I also got my adult school mailer. So, check your mailboxes to register. And then the final thing, which I wish some of the more avid people would be here, but I was looking over this research paper about how new AIs or LLMs learn best. And it said that the researchers identify 4 fundamental cognitive behaviors that mirror how expert human problem solvers approach difficult tasks. Verification, which is systematically checking intermediate results for errors. Backtracking, which is abandoning failing approaches and trying alternative solutions. 3, sub-goal setting, breaking complex problems into manageable intermediate steps. And 4, backward chaining, which is reasoning from desired outcomes back to initial inputs. So I had never learned these, and these seem great to know, but it also seems like the curriculum with AVID very much is in line with that. And really just kudos to you for, the AVID program seems to be educational, but also communal, your love for your students and is evident and also reciprocated, it seems. So great job. And it just seems like a great confidence builder. And yeah, it's a great program to have. So thanks for sharing it with us and the students. That's it.
Thank you so much. And with that, we'll move on to the superintendent report. Dr. Adamson.
Right. Well, thank you and good evening again. I have, just 6 items I'm going to report on this evening. And the first at the top of the list is, yes, regarding our master facility planning input sessions. We had 3 last week, and so good that several of our trustees were able to attend. And we're just grateful to those of you who were able to, whether it was in person or online. Next steps on that, we are awaiting the actual link to the survey from MGT, and that is the company who we have partnered with, who is assisting us, through the gathering of the data and through the actual development of our, master facilities plan. So there is a survey that really mirrors the questions that were asked during the input sessions that we will be sending at some point next week out to our entire community, to all of our staff, really asking for your input. So everyone has that opportunity to go ahead and provide, their feedback on what you identify as priorities. And I cannot stress enough how important that's going to be in helping us really identify our priorities, right, for how we're going to be spending those Measure B dollars. So please be looking out for that. And then, of course, for the board, once we have sort of a draft of that, the plan at this point is to bring that forward in April for initial, at least an initial update as to where we are in the process. But really, the end of May, June is really what we're looking at as far as, bringing something for that initial, your initial approval. But we're definitely going to have those opportunities, leading up to June to get your feedback and input as well, once we've got that summary. So we're definitely looking forward to that. In the email that we send out, there will also be a recording to the presentation because, as I've heard, there was really good information in there. Yes, above and beyond our incredible adult school, which, absolutely was highlighted. But really there's, it's about a 20-minute presentation that really will include the link to that. That way people can watch that prior to even, filling out the survey. And all of this information will be on our website as well. So we'll, be providing all of that in the coming week. Along the lines of input, number 2 really is our LCAP input. We have a session scheduled for March 25th in the evening at the high school library. I believe that communication has gone out this afternoon, and so we'll be sending regular updates. But that's March 25th from 6 to 7:30 in the evening at the PGHS library. That is your opportunity once again, for us to gather and ask for input from our entire community. We will be presenting some information on the progress we are making among our 4 goals that form a part of our local control accountability plan, which is our 3-year plan that drives really everything that we do as a district. So I really encourage you to set that evening aside, March 25th. There will be the majority of that evening is set aside for actual input from everyone who is there. There will be an opportunity to join us online as well. Once again, will be, all of that information has been sent via email. Spring is a busy time for cultural and religious observances, and so that's really my 3rd topic I just want to share out. And we received an email recently from State Superintendent Thurmond, really just sort of highlighting and identifying, some of those observances. And so I just share among them we have Ramadan, Lent, Passover, and Easter. So holidays observed by our Muslim, our Catholic, Jewish, and Christian families. And I just think this is an important comment to make, just because it reminds us of the incredible diversity that exists within our incredible community of PG, and gives us that opportunity to really once again in so many ways implement our culture of we and be reminded of that strong sense of belonging and safety, which are really 2 of our core values. So really just wanted to remind everyone of that. Bullying prevention learning series continues. We have our 3rd one coming up at the middle school next Tuesday, so March 11th from 6 to 7 p.m. Once again, that opportunity to join online as well, but I highly encourage, if you have been attending them, don't miss this one. If you haven't attended any, this is your opportunity to get in on that. So student rights and parent responsibilities is the topic for this coming Tuesday. So again, all of that information available online on the calendar on our website. So I really encourage you to add that to your calendar if it's not on already. I always try to include something along the lines of sports. And, we had a lot of information, a lot of highlights and celebrations for basketball recently. And, with that season having ended, one that doesn't always get a lot of that, notoriety and focus is lacrosse. And I share that only because we have one of the coaches sitting to my left. But really, honestly, they were incredible last night. I wasn't able to be at the actual meeting itself. We had a leadership meeting here, but I understand that they beat Hollister 13-1. So go lacrosse, and I just have a feeling it's going to be an amazing season coming up. So nice work, coach. And then really my last, topic for reporting out, really I was, a wonderful good news story was shared with me just yesterday, in fact, by our grandparents within our community. And they were very much along the lines of full disclosure, 2 of these kiddos are their own grandchildren. But from what I understand, we have 3 students. 2 of them are Robert Down students and 1 middle school. Billy Beavis and Vivian Triplett, and then Henry Beavis held a bake sale this last Sunday within our community, and was all to raise money for, families who are struggling in Ukraine. So again, we talk about this all the time, this culture of belonging, safety, prosperity, and this was really something that, from what I understand, was initiated by the students themselves. They, were selling Ukrainian treats and Ukrainian flower arrangements, and, all of the proceeds, which was $850 that they raised when, I might add, kind of, sort of rainy weather, it was cold out there, they were sitting out there, throughout the day, $850, which will all go towards, families in need. So, that warms my heart. I think of kindness, the initiative these students showed, and just that compassion for others. The grandparents who emailed me, they said, one of their favorite quotes is Mother Teresa's. And so I just want to end with that. There are no great things, just small things done with great love. So just that strong reminder for who we are as a community, and, what we do matters. And our students are watching, and, that's them, just putting that into practice, their own initiative. With that, I return it back to you, President Hazen.
Thank you so much. Some good words to live by at the end, especially. We have the safety report next, I think, from our Assistant Super Jordan.
And Dr. Adamson, thank you for the PG boys lacrosse commentary. We appreciate that. It's been a rough few years prior to this year, so we all feel really good. Not related to safety, although everyone's healthy today. I'll start out with our comprehensive school safety plans. Our CSSPs that were approved by each school site council were submitted to the Myron County Office of Education by the March 1st deadline. They've all been placed on the district website and also shared with Pacific Grove Police Department. We also have updated the Big 5 flip charts. You've been seeing those at your school sites or at the district office, which were also shared with Pacific Grove Police Department and Dispatch. We have one hanging on the wall over there. Kudos to Director Martinez for getting that organized and put together. Senate Bill 153, which is a new statute that requires local educational agencies to adopt plans to ensure all students can access instruction during an emergency or natural disaster, requires our school district as well as other LEAs to begin to develop instructional continuity plans. Those instructional continuity plans must be a part of our comprehensive school safety plans by July 1st, 2025. So we've got some work to do on that prior to the next adoption of our comprehensive school safety plans. PGUSD has been approved for the Stop the Bleed educational license. Once trained, our district will be authorized to teach U.S. Department of Defense approved Stop the Bleed classes. This educational license is good for 3 years, and our goal is to train staff to effectively stop uncontrollable bleeding with the use of tourniquets and other methods within our classrooms and our school sites. More to follow on this as we progress. Sandy Hook Promise, See Something, Say Something anonymous reporting tool. Just a quick update. The district's goal is to provide continued refresher updates and courses to our student population to introduce them to the anonymous reporting tool, and that will be done after each semester. We had CPR infant, toddler, and adult first aid training at PG Adult School. We had 26 attendees, and just again, this highlights the great work that's being done at the PG Adult School to continue to support our community. Additional automatic electronic defibrillators, AEDs, have been placed throughout the school district thanks to Tyler Hart Institute. They've been supporting Pacific Grove Unified in this endeavor for quite some time now. More recently with a partial grant for 4 additional AEDs. Sites were assessed for location and proximity to students, and the additional devices have been placed at Robert Down, the high school, and the adult school. These are also identified on our school site evacuation maps. Couple of other facility updates, camera systems. We have the improved camera coverage project installation and integration, which is complete now. Staff and contractors are performing some of the fine tuning with our camera systems to ensure they have the optimal view. The district is currently looking into vape sensors at the high school and the middle school. Staff's reviewing proposals for vape sensors to be installed in some of our restrooms at our secondary school sites. More to come on that as we evaluate the budget and implementation. And then fifth grade montage prescribed supplemental drug prevention awareness program is complete at Robert Down and Forest Grove. This, of course, is Dr. Grover's presentation, which replaces the DARE program. The district is looking at additional nationally accredited drug prevention and awareness programs to replace DARE in partnership with Pacific Grove Police Department. In fact, Director Martinez will be meeting with one of them tomorrow to discuss this further and bring something forward. And finally, the We've Got Your Back training has been, lessons have been delivered to our school sites. All sites have been provided the curriculum and support materials related to We Got Your Back training and in curricular support. All sites have been trained and the implementation and parent notification support, and the rollout of the program will start in the 25-26 school year. And that's it for me tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much and welcome back, Assistant Superintendent Jerome. It's good to have you back in the room. And with that, we're going to our first public comment session. And so I have a few things to read. I'll start with just the statement here. Public comment on any item of interest to the public that is within the board's jurisdiction will be heard. The board will also take public comment on each specific action item prior to that item. Any individual wishing to comment on those specific items are kindly asked to wait until that item is discussed. The board will allow a reasonable amount of time for public comment on each agenda item not to exceed 3 minutes per speaker and no more than 20 minutes per agenda item pursuant to board policy 9323. Speakers will be called sequentially online and then in the room until there's no speaker coming forward on the agenda item or the amount of time allocated for the agenda item has elapsed, whichever comes first. This meeting of the Board of Education is a business meeting of the board conducted in public. So please note that the Brown Act limits the board's abilities to respond to public comment, but we may choose to direct items to the administration for future agenda items. And just another little addition to that is we do want to ask to refrain from applause or snapping or acknowledgement on decisions. Obviously, when we have amazing presentations like we did from the students, please clap for that. But that will just help everyone feel safe and confident in sharing their own perspectives. So we will now move on to community members that would like to comment on non-agenda items. Okay, going once, twice, sold. I feel like I should do that for them. Next is PGUSD staff comments on non-agenda items. Please come on up. Yeah.
Clearly, we're coordinated. Please forgive us. We're both therapists, so we're not used to doing large groups like this. However, afterwards, we can sit knee to knee and I can tell you how normal you guys all are.
Wait, I'm just kidding.
Wait. Hi, my name is Douglas George. I'm the therapist embedded at PG Middle School.
And I'm Audrey Cordova, and I'm the PGUSD mental health therapist in place at PG High and PG Community High. In an effort to transform conflict and promote healing in our district, shout out to the Little Book of Restorative Justice, we'd like to address a narrative or perception that's out there and provide clarification.
First, we'd like to say, that's Audrey and myself, that we've been so impressed by how much mental health is valued by everyone in this community, in our schools, also in this room. The outpouring of support is truly awesome. And let it be known that March is National Social Work Month. This is both Audrey and myself's training. This is how we come to the table. This is how we come to you for PG. and what we offer with our mental health therapy and our framework to that.
People have been coming to us in droves with blessings of support. Over 20 years ago in our social work programs, we never would imagine we'd be here today. Truthfully, our country dedicates less resources to helping people from marginalized communities. Social work professors train future social workers to always be ready for budgetary surprises.
Yeah. In PGUSD, our district, as well as our site, I'm sorry, I'm wearing my reading glasses, as well as our site administration, continue to study efficient and responsible uses of public funds. Dr. Court Anthony, yes, we are going to point to you, has worked closely with Audrey and myself to collect and analyze data that supports budgeting and future program planning decisions. It should be noted, Yolanda, Sean, Greg,
And everybody else.
Sean, Greg, Yolanda,
And
everybody else are passionate leaders and student advocates.
In 2022, when I was hired, there was a teacher on special assignment at PG High. His name was Dr. Hagquist. Because we shared a goal to offer mental health support for longer than a couple of years, we worked together to develop systems of data collection, the same ones we use today. When reviewing data such as student utilization of mental health, we found service duplication exists. We're on campus 9 or more hours a day. The overlap is there. Actually, we've been there longer today.
That's okay.
We're failing.
Whatever. We're good. That is Audrey and myself, are and will continue to be available to all students in general education, and those also that receive special education support. We are a resource of information and strategies to our parents, our school staff, as well as to our administrators.
Whether it is Lunch Bunch at PGMS or the Super Sewing Sewist Society at PG High and slime, emotional regulation with slime, here, proof, that was today. We promote student wellness outside of the one-to-one meetings.
However, it should be noted that mental health support happens in collaboration with everyone on campus. I have to say that PG is unique in this. Coming from several different districts, we do absolutely have a community of fierce student allies.
So one of my favorite experts, renowned psychiatrist and child trauma expert, Dr. Bruce D. Perry, says, anyone can be therapeutic regardless of profession. We are PG. We will prosper together. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's okay. Thank you very much for your comments. I know that was hard not to clap to. We did add another 3 minutes because there were 2 of them, just for the record. That's why you got 6. Thank you for the comments. Do we have any other PGUSD staff comments? Seeing none online and none in the room, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. And this is now items A through K. We added an item about a food truck for our upcoming Robert Down event, STEM night. So does anyone in the public have a comment on the consent agenda? Okay, no one online or in the public. Now up to the board. Any comment or concern with consent agenda? Not seeing any. We're going to go ahead and I'll ask for a motion if anyone wants to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the addition of item K.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion was made by Clerk McNary and seconded by Trustee Otmar. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Unopposed, it passes 5-0. So now we're on to action discussion. This is item 7A, resolution number 1146. That's going to be presented by Chief Human Resource Officer Rogan.
Thank you, President Hazen. This is the first of three resolutions that we'll be taking a look at this evening. This is resolution 1146 regarding the certificated personnel reduction in force. The recommendation that the administration is making at this time is for a 4.6 FTE total reduction in force. Making up the components of that 4.6 reduction is 1.0 TK elementary multi-subject teacher, K through 5 elementary school multi-subject teacher, a 3.0 FTE reduction, and then a 0.4 FTE reduction at the middle school in math and learning support, and then a 0.2 full-time equivalent reduction for the middle school math of a middle school math teacher. So the total savings from that would be $589,000. And the resolution is for your consideration this evening.
Thank you very much. So we'll now open up for public comment. None online, none in the room. So we're now moving to board discussion. I'll go ahead and start relatively in the middle with Trustee Shimas, that will head around counterclockwise.
I think we've had a full meeting of discussion on this, so I'm not having anything else to say about it.
That's totally fine. Yep. Trustee Wax.
I would echo Trustee Shimas's comments. I would just like to add that in one of the communications, the email today about this matter, the community member reminded me of how difficult of a position it is for our schools and our school staff to kind of live with this possibility. And so for myself, I just am so sorry that people have had to live with doubt and uncertainty. And I appreciate everyone's work.
Thank you very much. And I'll go and say similar, it's these decisions, and I'm going to say it now, but this applies for the few resolutions we have coming, so I don't repeat myself, but I just really do want to acknowledge the immense difficulty in making these sort of decisions that impact the lives of our educators and staff. Layoffs are not just numbers on a spreadsheet. They represent real people who have given their time, energy, and passion to our students and community. Sorry. The loss of even one valued member affects not only their livelihood, but the quality of the education and support we provide. So our schools are only as strong as the people above them and within them, and each one deserves to be recognized for their contributions. So sorry for the tough decision tonight, but thank you for those that we will have to let go. So, First, Clerk Neri.
I think I am appreciative of the process to get us to this point, and it's just unfortunate that this is still part of the process. I don't have anything to add to the discussion, but thank you for everyone and for how respectfully you've all participated.
I can echo everything that's said. My eyes are tearing while you talk. I do want to just make sure that it's clear and to confirm with you, Mr. Rogerman, that this reduction in force on resolution 1146 is based on our enrollment projections.
Correct. That all of the recommendations that we're making are done to maintain the contract goals as opposed to the contract met maximums, and it is a result of having fewer students in grades TK through 5, which allows for the reduction in force to occur while maintaining the contractual goals in terms of class size.
And should those numbers increase, then we could modify based on those numbers in order to stay within the contractual agreement.
Correct. That, what is going to happen is anyone that gets laid off, if they are a probationary employee, they will be put on a 24-month rehire list, meaning that they would have rights to a job if it were to open up within the next 24 months. If any person that is laid off is a permanent employee, then they get put on a 39-month rehire list. So they will have rights to be rehired by the district should we experience an increase in enrollment and have positions available as a result of that.
Okay, thank you for that. I don't have anything else.
With that, any other final? I think we appreciated comments and discussion. I think we will move on to a motion, which I'll go ahead and make the motion to pass the resolution as written. If I could get a second.
I'll second.
Motion was made by myself, seconded by Clerk McNary. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That passes 5-0. So now we're on to resolution 1147, the determination of certificated tie-breaking criteria. Chief Urban.
One of the parts of the process when you do a reduction in force is that there needs to be tie-breaking criteria in place. Should there be two members that have the same date of hire, and so having that same date of hire have the same level of seniority within the district. And so what the district has is recommending is that the board review the resolution that is going to put forth a tie-breaking criteria, and it's kind of a point-based system. If you look at the resolution itself under item A, that would be points for a preliminary, clear, or life credential. If it's a preliminary credential that a teacher holds, they would get 1 point as far as a rating goes, and they would get 2 points per every clear or life credential that person holds. What that means is that if a person holds a single subject credential and holds a multiple subject credential, then that person has 4 points applied toward the tiebreaker. Under B, there's the authorization for English language learners. You would have 3 points for a B clad, which is a bilingual clad credential, and a +1 for a clad. Just a point of reference for the trustees, every teacher in our district is clad certified. C, the supplementary authorizations, that is if someone has a credential and they have a supplementary authorization under that credential to teach another subject. An example is my own, that I've got a single subject teaching credential in English and I've got a supplemental authorization in journalism. So that would be worth a point in the tie-breaking criteria that you have here. And then any degree that's earned past the BA or BS level would get a +1 rating per degree. If two people are tied, you add all those up. The person that has the higher level of points is the one that would maintain the seniority tiebreaker. The other person is the person that would be suffering the consequences of a layoff. In the event that the tiebreaker winds up tied, then it's a lottery. It would be a random draw.
Thank you very much. Again, we'll go out to public comment first. If anyone has thoughts on these tie-breaking criteria in the room or online. We might have one person coming to the microphone.
Not that obviously I'm getting an answer or anything, but just so that it's on the record and for clarification, that since there is no bumping, that is only in the event that teachers have the exact same hire date is where this point system would take place.
Thank you very much for your question and getting it on the record. My understanding is that is correct. I'll go ahead and direct just to make sure.
That is correct. Yes, that this is only if people have the exact same hire date. Even if someone is hired one day before another person, that one day is the criteria that would supersede a tiebreaker.
That takes on my comments. I'll go next to Clerk McNary. That's okay.
No comments. Thank you.
No.
No questions are coming.
With that, I'll go ahead and ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion on staff's recommendation.
I'll second.
A motion was made by Clerk McNary and seconded by Trustee Otmar. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It passes 5-0. Thank you very much again. And Chief Woodwin, we got you for at least one more right now.
Yes.
Resolution number 1148.
Resolution 1148, classified personnel reduction in force. You will recall from our presentation that we made that the district has the intention of a reduction in force of 3 mental health therapists. And when we did the updated presentation on February 27th, the district talked about aligning the resources that we have so that we would be able to hire 3 mental health therapists for next year, with those 3 mental health therapists being funded outside of the current general funding sources. 2 of them would be funded through the through the money that we're currently using on a contract for services with Monterey County Behavioral Health. And then the other one would be funded through the arts, music, and discretionary grant. That would be 1-year funding. So one of those positions would be a temporary. The other 2 would be funded through the unrestricted general fund, but the relief coming from that special ed funding. So while this is a 3.375 FTE reduction in force, there is the intent and the plan of the district to bring back 3 mental health therapists for next year. The 0.375 is an instructional assistant position that currently is 1 vacant position at the elementary level, and that brings the total reduction in force to 3.375 with a savings of $552,885 to the district.
Thank you for the presentation. Is there anyone that would like to go first? I'll give permission here. All right, thank you. Is there anyone from the public that would like to go first and comment on this item? If not, I will go to the board. I might go ahead and start just for the pause here. And I just wanted to confirm with you, Chief Rogerman, that if these plans, the rehiring of the 3 do not meet the needs, if there's greater needs in the district for mental health support, how is the district ready to pivot and support the mental health of our students to the best of our abilities?
That might be a question that's better asked of the superintendent.
I mean, I'm not going to say specifics, but I think, the plan that we presented, that we put forward really, speaks to what our current caseloads are. I just want to reiterate that we have 2 of our lovely mental health therapists here this evening that they've been involved as, with Director, Cork Anthony, looking at, what the data is, what those caseloads are. With that, having our 3 mental health therapists in place for next year, in addition to, the hiring of, additional interns. We're not hiring, right, but just bringing in additional interns, in addition to our counseling staff and our psychologists. And we really feel that, yes, we've got a robust enough plan to be able to move forward based on the information that we have at this time. If those things change, that'll be something we plan to monitor closely. Director Cork Anthony meets regularly with the mental health therapists, with counselors. I think the plan really for next year is to, this year it's been separate, those have been separate meetings, but really the idea being to bring them all together, to really be able to make sure that there's that alignment across the services, that they're looking at the needs, at data. I think our site leaders, our principals of the sites are going to be critical in that process as well as we, monitor throughout the year. And so I think as we become aware, of those additional needs, we will assess those and evaluate. We, have an obligation to meet the needs, of our students. And so if more is needed, we would look at what we have available at that time. And we needed to go out to outside organizations to provide additional support. We would have to do that at that time.
Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly the kind of answer I was going for. And the only comment I'll add on top is just this, again, the kind of the systems thinking is just making sure, it sounds like we have those meetings, but if we can make it a little more formal or more organized, so that we have that, kind of mental health accounting to make sure that we are meeting those needs. I don't doubt that the plan will, but we don't know what the next COVID or bird flu might be, let's say. So with that, I will go to others.
I can go. I do just want to make sure that if I'm voting yes on this, that there is an assurance that we're bringing back 3 mental health therapists at the same, without a reduction in salary, that everything is going to be the same across the board. No changes to that, simply moving them out of our general fund and funding it with the Monterey County Behavioral Health contract money. Is that correct?
Yes, and I can
It seems like
defer to
Mr.
Assistant
Jordan has
Superintendent
something to
Jordan.
say.
I think what I'd like to say to that specifically is that, as we do, anytime we make an adjustment to any position, we, do comparative studies. And so, I can absolutely confirm that we're not looking at a reduction in what the salary currently is. We would look at what those comparative studies are, and we use, neighboring districts to go ahead and determine that. So that would be part of the system, part of the process that we would follow. But I think I can pretty securely say that, as far as the rate, the current, annual salary at this point would not be reduced.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry for the interruption. I just heard that happening. Elliot touched on, President Hazen touched on what, all right, Elliot, touched on what I wanted to discuss too, that if we discover at some point that our students' needs are not being met via frequent communication, not only with the mental health therapists that are directly working with the students, but also with the counselors and even with teachers, because it's true, it is a community that serves our students' mental health needs on a daily basis. So if it seems like there is just a general sense that the students' needs aren't being met, I want to make sure that we are ready to pivot with a plan. And it may be something that we need to discuss in advance so that we're prepared and we're not flailing, trying to figure out how we're going to, almost what you referred to earlier, Mr. Jordan, is stop the bleed. I mean, it really is like, it's an essential, it's food, water, and mental health as far as I'm concerned. We want our kids to be successful in school. Talk about A through G, they need to be mentally healthy in order to learn and move through life. I'm going to start crying, but that's fine. So I just want to make sure we're prepared to pivot and that we have a plan and that we are engaging everybody that needs to be engaged, and that we do discuss having a mental health collaborative group of professionals that we refer to and that meet regularly if they're willing to do that. And so that everyone's in communication and we're doing this in a way that's holistic and true to our students' needs. And that is my biggest concern. So I just would like confirmation, and that was a lot of information coming out of my mouth, but I would just want confirmation if I'm saying yes to this and my name is on here as a yes vote. I just want to make sure that's going to happen.
Yeah, the intention is absolutely to involve everyone, on that team. I think I've named, all of those individuals, and that absolutely includes, yes, our site administrators. That, the regular monthly meetings are occurring now, but they, it's happening separately with counselors, separately with mental health therapists. So I think the intention of Director Cork Anthony will be to, bring those groups together regularly. I know that they, are even planning on, coming together in the next 3 weeks to even sort of start that process and what that's going to look like for next year. And like I said, a part of those meetings will be to, analyze and look at, caseloads, share challenges, what, each of them are seeing at the school sites. And, part of that is identifying and discussing, student needs specifically. So that'll be the monitoring, part of the process and the plan.
And then I just wanted to voice just one more time that I do have a concern with discontinuing the MCBH contract because those are high needs students that they serve. And those students do need to go somewhere. They do need to go to a therapist. My concern is that there's going to be a difficult division of time, and that even if it is spread across 3 therapists that you talked about at last week's meeting, even if it is spread across 3, that it is going to leave a gap. So I just want to make sure that that's monitored and being looked at. And it's not my intention to micromanage. These are just the thoughts that are coming out as I sit up here. So, but I just wanted to get that into the microphone. So I don't have anything further, but thank you for listening and for allowing me to speak and feel up here.
Thank you. Any other board comments?
Just that, it's our job as a board to set goals, and that's something that we can do regarding what is our priorities around mental health counseling. And that comes up every year. So, and then we forward it to the superintendent. So you have the power.
Let's see. I don't have too many questions. I would, throughout this process, Trustee Otmar's questioning and feedback about the process has been appreciated by me, since I presume because you're in the healthcare industry and because it's kind of at the foremost of your thinking. So I just really appreciate all that attention that has been paid from you, and also the superintendent and Dr. Corky Anthony with how we might transition to this in-house mental health therapist team. Yeah, that's all. Appreciate everyone's work.
Trustee Otmar, perhaps something like a mental health advisory committee, like something could be another idea. But I think what you're saying is also like, we need to approach this holistically and ongoing. And I agree. And I think we have lots of options to explore and to continue to use our most excellent resources in our school. I think I'm satisfied with the discussion we had at length last meeting, and thank you for your comments to both of our mental health therapists today. I appreciate the additional information. And I'm comfortable moving forward with the recommendation as presented.
Agreed. I think with that, I'll go ahead and open up for a motion if anyone would like to make one. Now I'll go ahead and make a motion to pass resolution 1148 as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, motion was made by myself and seconded by Trustee Shamas. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
None opposed. It passes 5-0. So we're on now to item D. Thank you very much, Chief Roderman. Proposed board calendar, Dr. Adamson.
Thank you. There are no additional changes since our last meeting. So I'm just opening it up to approve as is. Yes.
I think we still go to public that way to see if it's any questions on the calendar. If not, I'll look back to the board. Yeah, none here, no one grabbing the mic. So I think we are okay, and we don't need to make a motion because it stays as is. So then now we have finished up the action. We're on to item 8A for future agenda items. So again, this is an opportunity, public comment, if there's any to be added. The public, any from the board here, things I'd like to bring up at this point? Okay. So with that, I think the direction is to leave as is, and we're not going to adjourn now. We're just to remind everyone we have to go back to closed session because we have more job to do. But thank everyone here. We'll come back if you want to wait for us and cheer us on after we're done. We'll come back and gavel out after we're done. But thank you everyone for attending and for the comments. Okay, we're going ahead and gaveling us out. I have to report back out that information was given or information was received and direction was given on both items that were left, or all three items. And with that, I will gavel us out at 9:56 p.m. Thank you very much.